Right folks, and welcome back. So the new 48 volt solar system is nearly ready for commissioning. I'm waiting for next weekend until I've got James with me to give me a hand, because we've got to get the other battery pack in here. So we've got pallets ready, we've cut some galvanised, I think that's water pipe, it's not scaffold pipe, it's about 60mm. So we've cut some rollers to roll it into the shed, because we're going to try and get it in the battery cupboard still in the metal casing without having to uncase it. I've just realised I've not got enough battery cables, so I've just ordered some more 70mm battery cable to join the two packs together. I thought I'd got enough stuff, but it's all 35mm, so that'll come through the week. Some people don't like these Lynx power ends, they think they're really expensive, but everything I'm finding, like buzz bars and stuff, they're only about 100 amp. Some of the Chinese ones, you know, say they're 200 amp, they're not big enough, and you know, we're putting a lot of power through this. So we've got two power ends up there, and we've got one down here. So this is from the fuses to the batteries to the dump load. It's kind of complicated, but these are our Morningstar Tristar PWM charge controllers. So these have the ability to set them in diversion mode. They're normally used, these are quite old-fashioned, you can still buy them, and they are pretty cheap. I think of some of the solar companies for about 600-700 quid. That one there on the right, I bought brand new in the box off eBay for about 90 quid. That's a 45 amp one. The one on the left's a 60 amp one. Bought that a few months ago, and I think that was about 50 quid. So I've not paid a lot for them, but I've just bought them as I've seen them. So we've got two dump loads, because that gives us 4,000 watt with the two wire wound resistors of dump. So because we're using a grid tied inverter on the other shed, which I'll take you around and show you in a minute, to basically backfeed into this and use the Victron inverters to charge the batteries, there's the ability it could overcharge, and to a certain extent we want to overcharge the batteries, or the ability to burn the sulphur off, keep them in good shape, and to give us the ability to use a diversion mode to run immersion heater, storage heaters, etc. In the future. We're not doing that just now. A few people think I should be, but the caravan's got gas central heating at the moment, so that's where our hot water comes from. So basically I'm using two separate ones just because it's easier and cheaper, but it also means I can cascade them. So I've got the first one set at 59.5 volts. So the one that says Tristar, the newer one, I've set that up so it's 59.5 volts. So when the batteries reach that, the first wire wound resistor starts to dump. And if it rises quickly and then suddenly hits 60 volts, the second wire wound resistor will dump, so we'll be dumping 4,000 watt of power. Now it'll be fairly rare that we will have too much power and we get to that stage, but it's just a fail-safe. It's a fail-safe if everything else fails, if the hot water is totally hot, if the storage heaters cut out, or if something trips, we've got a way of dumping the power. You know, you don't see this on modern systems very often, not unless somebody's got a wind turbine, and normally the dump load is built into the wind turbine controller. But this has cost me about £350 to set up, and I think it's worthwhile. There are links to these components on Hugh Piggott's websites. I think it's scaregwind.net. His website's good. It takes a bit of getting your head around, especially if you're not used to doing this sort of stuff, but it's worth reading, and he does respond to people. So I've took a lot of advice off people on Facebook. You know, there's several people, especially on our Facebook group that's part of this YouTube channel, living off grid in Scotland. There's a lot of people have helped me, you know, Mingu Moore, Paul Camille, I think there's another one, Scraig Projects. he's given us some advice. He sent me a diagram, so there's been a lot of advice and help, and you do need it. This sort of stuff's difficult to understand. So basically, inside these, they're really old-fashioned. There's like 8 toggle switches. So the first 3 are to do with basically the voltage and everything, and you just put them on or off, and then 4, 5 and 6 are the voltage setting that you want to dump at. And it shows you in the manual. I will put a screenshot in of how you set that up. If anybody wants me to do it, I'll take the covers off and show you and run you through the dumping procedure. But basically they're set in diversion mode just now to dump, and we will be putting a relay driver at the bottom there and some Cat5 armoured cable into the caravan to run 2 storage heaters and a small immersion heater in the future. But I'm just at the stage I need to get this commissioned. I need to get this working and running. I'm fed up of looking at it, to be honest, so I'm just at the stage I need to get it running. We'll just run it with 1 generator just now. So at the moment the Outback is going to be controlling the generator. That'll be turning the generator on and off through the ATS switch. The Outback can only charge about 3,000 watts and the generator's 8,000 watts. So I've run a separate cable to the Neos. That's a flooded lead acid. It's a forklift battery charger. So I've run that in. So basically when this kicks the generator on, both this and that will be charging. So it'll be charging about 6,000 watts into the batteries, just so we're making use of the power. Hope that makes sense. And then we're going to be having a secondary generator set up through that big beast of a Chinese inverter. So we are still working on other projects, that's why everything takes ages. So the Land Rover's going back together. It's not been very nice in the winter to work on it, so we've had to spent a lot of hours cleaning these axles. We had to weld a diff pan in that, and where it went for sandblasting, they never blocked the ends of the axle up, so it was full of black sand. We've power washed it, we've degreased it, we've put diesel down it, brake cleaner, been shoving rags up it. We've got it as clean as we can get it now, and it started to flash rust again, so we've had to rub it back down. Another coat of red oxide. I'll give it a coat of red oxide in the morning, and then we're going to get the MIO paint on. Need to get the wheels rubbed down and sprayed. I've got everything for the back axle laid out there, and I just need to decide. The brake discs on it are new. Well, they're as new as new can be. But I'm probably going to get a new set of brake discs, brake pads. The calipers are kind of stuck. I don't know if I can rebuild them or not. Oil seals, pinion seal. And we're going to get this back axle back together and get it on. And get the front axle on. And we're going to start painting. Bulkhead removal bars come for the rear tub. If anybody knows anything about Land Rovers, when you've got a hard top and it's just a 2-door cab, your driver's seat doesn't go back far enough, especially if you've got a dodgy knee like me. So we're removing part of the bulkhead so the seat goes back another 4 inches. So again, we're working. So this is basically the reason we need a dump load, is because we're using the grid-tied inverter. If you jump back a couple of videos, I've done a video about this. So this is a 3.2 kilowatt Jinlong inverter, and that's because this side of the shed faced, let me get this right, it faces east, so it gets the early morning sun. So we're going to put 8 solar panels on that side of the roof, so 3.2 kilowatt of solar to get the early morning sun, so we've got power early in the day, just to try and reduce our reliance on diesel generators and fossil fuels. We are intending putting a 1 kilowatt wind turbine up shortly. I've had a lot of advice again off Facebook, etc. People that are actually using wind turbines. The reason I've not bought a wind turbine is the cost of the infrastructure. I need to make a track up the hill, I need to put a base in, and I've just got that much going on just now. It's probably going to be a job for next year. I think we'll get all this solar system working, monitor the diesel use, and then we're probably looking at putting something like a future energy, future wind 1 kilowatt turbine. Again, that'll be AC coupled, so that and that will add up to basically 4 kilowatts. So we've got enough dump load, and then we'll use a Morningstar relay driver to turn on an immersion heater, like a 1 kilowatt immersion heater, so it's a trickle charge, and a couple of 1 kilowatt storage heaters. So, and that needs to move. That weighs over a ton. So again, that, getting a lot of advice over that. My great-grandparents actually had one of them in a farm where they didn't have mains electricity, and that was their only source of power. So yeah, that needs to move. It needs to have a new home. We need to build a shed because it is noisy. But we need to do something with the hot water, so, you know, we could use the hot water for running radiators or something, or warming the workshop. I don't know. Anybody's got any ideas, drop it in the comments. I think, again, that's going to be a job for next year. But this is the old solar system. It's still bloody working. That inverter's knackered. It trips out at least once a day, but it's still kicking out enough power to run everything.